You know, it's kind of weird. I'm at Echo Lake. I just bumped into a guy who just told me he saw a Sasquatch. This is twice I've been here where I've bumped into people that said they saw a Sasquatch. But the weird thing is, I was just down the road filming some loons, and as I was filming I heard this, but really loud. And then I stopped here to check out this lake behind me. I heard another large whack. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to drive up and down the road here a little bit. I'll leave my window down and I'll stop my car and I'll see if I hear another whack. But I can put my audio recorder on. It's just weird. Same sound, 3 kilometers apart. I'll try to get it recorded though, because it's not going to mean anything to you guys. I just heard a third knock, but it was down the road, so I moved my vehicle up the road more. And then I heard another knock, so I moved up just a wee bit. But I have to shut up. And listen. It's kind of weird though, because they're on the south side of the valley instead of the north side. Okay, I'll leave my audio recorder on. And I do want to get over here, though, up top there. I don't know if you can see that with all the smoke anyways, but... You know, I'm the last guy to... read into anything, and I don't want to read into anything. And I'll tell you, I just heard another knock. I'm on the north side of the valley now. But when you hear them, like they're not like a twig or anything like that. Like I was just chucking a large rock at a big trunk of a tree here. And then I tried smacking a big rock onto another rock. And that's 4. I don't know. I haven't come across any prints yet. But I haven't come across any bear prints. I haven't come across any cougar prints. I haven't come across any rabbit prints. I've come across elk, deer, cow, and that's it. But when you hear the knocks, you hear them. They're distinct. They're not little piddly things, that's for sure. And again, it's only one knock. It's almost like as soon as you come into the area and you stop your vehicle, they knock one time. That's happened to me 4 times now. It's got nothing to do with my vehicle. This knock was that direction, heading towards Echo Lake again. I don't know, just an observation. All right. I just stopped in to Echo Lake Resort and talked to Ward and told him what I was doing here and stuff, and they were full solid. I've had pretty good luck with the resorts in the area. As mentioned, Harold and Kim, they said, well, yeah, Leon, you can stay at our area there if you're doing squatches, and let us know what you're kind of finding and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then I come down to here to Echo Lake Lodge Resort, and they're booked solid. Talk to Ward a bit, tell him what I'm doing, and then he says, you and I should get together and talk. We've got a lot of reports about Bigfoot in the area. So it's like, mentioning earlier, there's 3. So anyways, there's a permanent site people, but they're not showing up till Friday, annuals, so he gave me their spot. So that was pretty nice of the guy, for sure. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm going to take you over to an area. Heidi found some interesting things. She's not a squatcher or anything like that, but she's a bush person, and she has some thoughts and some stuff. So I'm going to buzz over there and see what she wants to show me. And it's supposed to be pretty interesting. So I went back and talked to Warden, and he had said that he had talked to one of the old timers in the area, and that he was a trapper. And that he found prints, saw Sasquatch. And this is in the area here again. Now I'm going to just turn this around so you guys can see what I'm looking at here. And that's this right here. Now, the question is it man-made? Or did a Sasquatch build it? So it's always good to get, remember those 4 things I talked about. You need to be a healthy skeptic, and you need to use critical thinking, and you also need to form a hypothesis. Now, first thing you'll notice, there's all this bark that's on here. The thing you'll notice is there's a seating stump. You also notice these on the ground here. And so when I talked to Harold, again, this would look like a Sasquatch structure. Look at the rocks though around the perimeter. Harold's affair is fairly mature, meaning he's about probably around 65 years old, and his family were raised here. So I asked him about these structures, and he said, "Yeah, my kids made those. They've been there for a long time," was his words. But again, you can just see all the barks and that on it. So, just something to keep in mind. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no Squatches in the area, because, like I said, that's 3 people now I've come across. 4 if you count Warden, because he says he's been hearing some pretty freaky vocals, or he's heard pretty freaky vocals in the area. So, and I let him listen to one of the vocals, not from here, but from another area. And he says, "Yeah, I've heard that here before." And it's a long howl. Ooh, that kind of a sound. And I look behind me, look at that. The nice thing is, A, it's open area. Because usually I just don't have open area like this to walk in. But B, I can get right up to the crest, or right at the base of that mountain behind me that goes straight up. Because I don't want to look for a sign up there. I'm going to put a recorder up here too. Okay, so here's something else I want to show you. So again, is that Sasquatch? Carrie and one of the other girls were with. Oops, over on the right side over here in case you hear them talk. This is just a really small lake to my left. But again, a lot of people would be ecstatic and go, oh, look at this, is a Bigfoot structure. But I'll show you the signs that it's not. Plus the information, the locals say that it's been here for a long time. I just want to point out this right here. See how this looks like a roadway? There's a side here, that one's been kicked out of place. Comes all the way down here like a path. And you flip around here, you get the same thing. This one here was actually there, so it was a pathway that walked all the way around here, and goes into the entrance. So it's a nice find, looks interesting, but not unexplainable. Which is more likely it's human done than it's Sasquatch. Okay, we got another area up here I want to show you. The toughest part about squatching is you got to be honest. Because there's no use looking for things that aren't squatch. So most people come in this area there's an X over here. But most people come in this area and they would see all this stuff and immediately go to squatch. You got to slow yourself down. You have to be the healthy skeptic, because there's nobody here who's a healthy skeptic. And you have to use your critical thinking. But I'll show you some stuff that's strange. Where'd that guy come from right there? It's easily 60 feet long. There's no stump around here. There's no busted trees up top. There's this one here, but that's poplar. Some poplars busted up there, but that's not poplar there. That's balsam by the looks of it. Or lodgepole pine. I think it's lodgepole pine. But I rarely get into forests like this that haven't been touched. This is crown land. That's a huge baby. We got these guys. So just hanging there. So let's see what we're looking at here. This guy has snapped. And he is snapped off of something. That's where I want to go, is that direction. But I'm going to do this later. I'm going to have a whole day to do this whole perimeter area right through here. I'm going to head over to Echo Lake right now. Just talk to you in a minute. Okay, like, there's something weird about this south side of the valley. The tree snaps are crazy on this side. Like, they're not, I don't think I've seen as many tree snaps just to the road. And they always have a context. The other thing I was thinking about too, the 4 times I heard wood knocks, it was never a sunny day. It was clouded over, or at least seemed clouded over. One day it was rainy. The other day it was so smoky out that it was like dusk. But I want to show you something here. Maybe. I'm not sure yet, but I think this is a print right here. And it's a pretty big print. But I want to get the right angle so you can see what I'm looking at here. Pull that back a bit. There's a big toe right in here, and then there's another one, another one, another one, and another one. It goes like this, and it's about 7 inches across. Comes all the way back here to back here, all the way inside. I don't want to read into that now. The drawback is when I pulled some stuff out of here, right here where the toes were right in here. You can see indent. Maybe you can't. You probably can. I'm sorry, you guys. Here, it's a big toe right here. Toe, toe, toe. And then the smaller toes are down there. There's definitely black bear here. Because what got my brain focus a bit more was I came across older black bear prints up here. Now, this is the most promising thing I found for regarding a track, but I'm not even going to say it's a track because it's not clear enough for me. This is the kind of stuff I wouldn't show you guys normally, but it's got to be it makes it better if I shave it on this side, but that's my foot where the heel is here, and that's where the toes go up, so it's an extra 4 inches. And that's so I have a 12 inch foot, so that's 16 inches what that would be. And there's a trail that comes up through here, so it's older though, for sure it's older. So, that's why I don't show you prints, because you can't see them that well. But I can see what I'm looking at. But so it's no use showing prints like that because you can't really make it out at home, and it doesn't help you guys. So I want to put some recorders here, here, and right there. It's hard to believe that's blue sky above the smoke. Oh, I'm kind of bagged. So I'm at Echo Lake Resort. So that is where the husband and daughter did the report from. They actually were over on the site over here. And there's some really great trails. If Jennifer, you and Chris, and Mandy, and who else? Johnny, and Leanne, and anybody else. Well, not anybody else. You guys should come up to this spot. This spot is, I think, the ideal place to search for Sasquatches. Like I said before, it's kind of interesting because I've been here a few times, and every time I've been here, someone shared about a Sasquatch sighting. It's kind of weird. The people both in, it's easier for me to keep my eyes closed because that light's so bright. In Cozy Cabins, they had a potluck for everybody that was in the camp. They have about 8 cabins, 65 acres in all, I think. 40 on this side of the lake, the north side, and 25 on the other side of the lake. and they know the area really good, so they've been able to give me back trails up this area that I filmed earlier. It's just like this. Oh, it's just insane. And you need to be a bit of a mountain goat, so I'm glad that Harold helped me with that. But I don't know, it's sort of frustrating. Everything here just reeks of Squatch. Everything. The past, the force, the people, the reports people are talking about, the people I'm bumping into telling me about what they've experienced here. But again, it's all... it's not tangible. Even me talking right now, you guys are viewing me at home, and it's like... there's nothing solid, and there's not. I mean, I can say there's 3 wood knocks that happened to me over here. I thought I heard a wood knock on the other side. It's only like 9, and most people are going to sleep. And the nice thing is, you can hear nothing out here. You can hear your ringing on your ears, and you can hear breathing, and your heart. And the last time I was at a place like this was on Galliano Island, just total quiet. So what I did tonight was I put one of my recorders over into the middle section of Echo Lake. And the only reason why I did that, not necessarily for howls, of course the only kids that are in the campground happen to be right over here. Really? But there's a bonus to have kids. You want playful laugh in the area. As the story goes. They like kids' laughter, apparently. So, and who doesn't? But anyway, so I put that audio recorder in the middle of the lake. And the reason why I did that was where I put it, it's like a catcher's mitt. So where I actually put it was like right on the lake down here. And so if there's any wood knocks that are up here in the mountain, like I said, it's like this, or like this. This is what it's like. Any knocks up there, that recorder will pick that up. So, facts. And I'm not sure exactly what to do quite yet in regards to negotiating and navigating. Other than I got to be true to what I'm doing, which is what I've said I'm always going to do, and I'm going to keep doing that, which is basically show you what I'm finding, showing you the process, showing you the growth, showing you the mistakes. And, you know, to come out here and have those structures that I filmed, they're totally man-made. And we have to be fair about that, you guys. We have to be able to, we have to educate ourselves, whether we like it or not. We have to educate ourselves to define whether or not we're looking at something that's made from a Sasquatch compared to things that we think might be made from Sasquatch. And so some of you guys, I posted on a couple of different sites there the question, what was it called? Research question. And that was, does anyone know where the origin of woo started coming in to the Bigfoot community? Remember systems theory? We got a system that's 50 years old in Western culture regarding a topic called Bigfoot or Sasquatches. And we want to build on what came before, but we also want to track back to find out where the ideology started to come from so that we can build on what is solid. We can keep the stuff that we have a hypothesis about. I'm not saying to throw any of that out. But what we're really doing is anchoring down and weighing or nailing down what we know is solid. And the bottom line is, what we know is solid is there are academics out there that say there is something out there. There are academics out there, some like the late John Bindernagel, who passed away last year. You know, when I got to talk to him, I think the biggest impression he left on me was tracks are facts. There are tracks. Something can leave tracks. And remember, tracks have been around for a long time, and there's lots of stories pre-Bob Gimlin filming. So the idea about tracks and people finding tracks, like even again coming here, and that old timer who was talking about, you know, he came across tracks and then he actually saw one, and you know, the thing about bumping into people, they haven't told anybody. There's no way you can get them on a camera, so it takes some time to woo them over, so I might have to come back and revisit it a few times. So anyways, remember this, you guys? The body language, guys? Ooh, I'm excited. But anyways, and tracks are facts. Now, tree structures, I'm not sure about tree structures. I do believe that they use the forest to help negotiate and navigate. How they use the forest to negotiate and navigate, I don't know. The theory is tree snaps, tree leans, hanging trees, upside down trees. Now this is all hypothesis. The drawback is we don't have any visual evidence of it. In other words, visually we have it recorded or we've seen it personally that any of that's been done by Sasquatches. On the site over there at Cozy Cabins, when I was talking to Harold, asked him about the structures in the background of his property. He says, oh yeah, those have been there for a long time. A lot of us would be excited about that. Oh, all right, Squatch has been here for a long time. And then he follows up with, that was made by my kids. They would come out and make those structures. And so you can look at those pictures or the filming, and you can see that some of that stuff looks pretty solid. But the drawback is a person who knows the people who did it, a dad who knows the son, they've been on the property for over 20 years, knows the area. And he says, those are my kids, they did that. And they're grown up now. I met the daughter tonight, so she seems really nice. So you have to stick with the facts. And when I first got into Bigfoot, all the stuff I was picking up online, these are what you look for and all this kind of stuff, I got sucked right in there, hook, line, and sinker. The first videos I put up, I think it was up in the Penticton area, and the guy who showed it, he's a really awesome guy and stuff like that, and he didn't know what I was looking at, and I certainly didn't know what I was looking at, and I think it was called Jack's Site. There was one thing I didn't show on one of the videos, even though, I was really excited. I really thought, this has got to do with Squatches, but everyone can be fooled, especially when you're trusting. And especially when you go online, and especially when you come on site, you remember you're trusting, but you got to be cautious in your trust, and you got to be flexible. Because down the road, you're going to have to eventually say, things that you thought were squatchy aren't squatchy at all, and it's just part of the process. And it helps people. It helps them also relax and fess up, but it also helps them to trust you. And again, if you have a YouTube channel, I mentioned this just a little while ago, you have a big responsibility for people who are watching what you're saying and what you're doing and your claims that you're declaring. And I have a big responsibility to do that as well. You have the trolls out there. I'm pretty fortunate. I've only had really one kind of person hound me online, I guess, but I've already, opened up a file on them, and I deal with the police, so I just opened up a file on them. I actually went and talked to the RCMP. I know the person's location. I'm not saying this as threats or anything, but the bottom line is I find a lot of people are wounded in the community, and I don't blame them for being wounded. I've had a pretty terrible life in regards to certain things that have happened to me. But I have no right to take that out on other people. And I didn't come into looking for Sasquatch. That's the key part. I'm here looking for Sasquatch. I'm not here to join a Bigfoot community. A Bigfoot community has evolved because that's what humans do. We make these systems out of ideologies. And if you're not part of the system, well, of course, the system can't trust you because you're not part of their system. And then in that system, there's all these people who are moved up the ranks and have now got this morals and this ethic area, and it's got this hoaxers area, and it's got this spiritual area, and it's got the supernatural area, it's got the extraterrestrial area. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, it's not my business. Any of that stuff's not got nothing to do with what I'm supposed to be doing, which is looking for Sasquatch. But I got to be actual factual. And actual factual is facts are tracks. And you need to find tracks. You can search a whole area, but you need to find tracks. You need to get yourself out there, at least your contact information out there, so you can get people to report, so you can have a starting point to check out certain areas. It's better to have 20, 30, 40, 50 other eyes out there. And that's usually just people who weren't planning on seeing a Squatch, but all of a sudden bumped into one. Again, coming out here. I've been here, counting the first time somebody mentioned that they saw a Squatch. There's that time, and then the first day I was here, the second day I was here, the third day I was here. It's four. And then one guy talking about a vocal that he heard. So that's 5. So the area totally just reeks. Honestly, if you were just Joe Below Squatchy coming on, a YouTube guy, watching Bigfoot, looking at structures, all that kind of stuff, you walk into this area, squatchy to the tint. And I'm not kidding you guys, it's totally squatchy. Prehistoric, ooey, spooky, all that kind of stuff. But absolutely gorgeous area, beautiful area. Can't hear anything now. And it's only like 9:30 or 9:45 now, I think. So, and I'll be up at 2, about from 12 to about 3. And I want to listen for wood knocks too, because where I'm located on the lake is another bowl area where if there's any knocks that are across the lake, it'll come right across the lake and I'll be able to hear them. It is a really unique geography in the area. Again, it's just like this, and then the lake's right in the middle, and it just goes on like this. So what's really cool about that is everything echoes off that plateau of that lake. Sound carries on water. The other nice thing about putting my audio up too in the middle part of this elongated lake is so that I can be able to hear the difference between the activity at Cozy Cabin on that particular receiver, and also down here, or not down here, down here, at the other side of the lake where the avalanche area is. As far as talking goes, kids goes, noise goes, how it carries through the lake. And that'll give me an idea of the not frequency, but the starts with a D, can't remember what it is. Decibels, that's it. Carry across the lake, that will give me a measurement there too. So getting back to the concepts, facts, tracks, measurements, weather, environment, rhythms, fall, spring, summer, winter. Cycles, you want to look for cycles, you want to look for patterns, you want to look for, again, there's cattle up here that are free ranging up here in Crown Land. Where do they go at in the morning? Or where do they go at night? They all come off the mountain at nighttime. And if you remember the report that came in on, Thomas Steenberg shared it with me when he was the one who investigated the one at, it's a major park in Alberta, southern Alberta. Justin was just there. He just posted a video about hanging out there. Okay, can't remember it. Brain fart. I'll type it right here. Before that Bigfoot happened, the people who reported it, there was quite a group of them, was the deer and the elk hang out all the time, and the bear around the camp all the time. Like, there's lots of them. And in that video interview I did with Thomas, I showed you kind of pictures of, I just about had it, all the deer that are right there. And all of a sudden the deer all disappear. Now, deer can usually detect when there's predator in the area. And cows can predict when there's a predator in the area. Now, I know the cows would actually migrate from the top down, off the mountain, down into the valley a bit more. And that's okay. But the interesting thing is that if there's a sense of a predator in an area, where they'll negotiate to is the farthest, safest area away from the predator. So that gives you a bit of a hint of which direction to go check if there's squatches in the area. So I've heard vocals. I've got 2 reports, vocals going on here. I heard one guy here who I talked to today that's heard vocals. I've got an old-timer who says he saw a foot here with, not a foot, but a footprint, or footprints, and seen a Sasquatch. I've got 3 knocks that I personally heard. A 4th one perhaps over on this other side. I've had somebody show me things that look like structures that unfortunately later found out it wasn't structures at all, but they sure look like structures. All this stuff is important for education and learning about what I'm looking for. I've got audio up. I might have an audio of the dog. There's a dog that's way down the valley, and everyone seems to know this dog, which is a very loud barking dog. And I'm not too sure, but I might have vocals. I'm not saying I do yet. But I might have vocals of the dog barking, and then behind it you can hear this howl. And it's noticeable. It's not like hidden. That's what's so unique about this valley, is it really does travel. So, okay, thanks. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and the game plan is to go all along the rim of the forest that I showed you the other day, or today, and it'll be good. It'll be a good time. It's a great place for squatching for sure. Okay, talk to you in a bit. locals are great because I know the area. Those guys have lived there. Harold and Kim have lived here on that smaller lake with their resort for over 20 years. And they got lots of good information about the area. And you got to get over your sheepishness about asking people about Bigfoot so you can find out information that's going to help you in your investigating, not just stuck in your brain putting up your own hypothesis. It totally sucks. It does when you find out that you're wrong or you've made a mistake. But again, it's about education. It's not about being right. It's about being factual. If you're worried about being wrong, then don't squatch. The bottom line is don't squatch, because you're going to make lots of mistakes, and it's going to take you a long time to figure out what you're looking at. And you're going to have to go into places. I mean, that's a nice road. Look, that's a great road. But I need to go up that. That's what I need to go over there, up there. And that's not even steep, that area. Because up there is going to be like that there. Let me show you that. That's steep. And I'm old. And I'm fat. But the bottom line is, I have to be a healthy skeptic. I have to use critical thinking. I have to formulate a hypothesis, and I have to caution myself about my own sincerity, because I don't want to be sincerely wrong. Doing this area, especially being out here for 5 or 6 days, is kind of like, it's a beautiful spot I'm walking into. Let me just show you it. Look at that. This is Echo Lake here. But, you know, man, it's gorgeous here, you guys. I think what I'll do is I'm going to just pause this for a second. If you guys are going to squatch, you've got to stick with facts. You got to remember those four things I chronically push down, besides the 3, which is much grace, much patience, much gentleness. You need to come up and be a healthy skeptic when you're out here in the bush, because you are it, and you are looking at it, and you have people watching you, so you got to be as fair and reasonable as you can. When I did that other video, wait just for a track on there, so you need to have that healthy skepticism. You have to be also able to form a hypothesis on what you're finding and being flexible so you can adjust it, so you're dealing with facts. You got to be also use critical thinking to assess and analyze what you're actually looking at and viewing. When you find, look at prints, facts, tracks, or facts. You better know the difference between a human barefoot track, because that's quite a popular thing that's going across North America now. Keeping yourself close to nature by no shoes, just walking on barefoot. You better know the difference between that type of a print and a Sasquatch print. Also the difference between just stationary print, Sasquatch print, and one that's in motion. Also in regards to understanding what does weathering and time do over certain pieces of evidence, for instance, printing. Vocalizations. So the vocalizations that I've shared with some of the people in the valley here, just to see if they've heard anything like that, those are pretty distinct things. However, as Thomas Steenberg would caution us on, the idea that you hear something that's really bizarre, and I've heard some pretty bizarre stuff, but it doesn't mean it's Sasquatch. It means it's a bizarre sound coming around at nighttime. Plus, most of the work that you're going to be doing, if you're wanting to bump into them and see them, in my opinion, is going to be at nighttime, not during the daytime. Dusk to morning. The good thing about the valley, all the way down there, like I said, and all the way down here 2 kilometers, and down here another basically 8 kilometers, up on this ridge up here is audio equipment. I'm going to have to do that for like a month and a half, and hope that I can hear them. Now the nice thing about where I'm at is the echoes in here and the calls, the vocals that have come in regards to the reports, have been exceptionally loud. So it should be pretty crisp when they come in. My audio recorders do work fairly good Christopher Noel, thank you for your advice and helping some of us out with finding the right equipment. But the bottom line is facts, healthy hypothesis, critical thinking, and remember your sincerity, which means I can be sincerely wrong, which means I'm flexible enough to admit it to you guys. I want to show how embarrassing it can be sometimes. I want to show you the awkwardness, the uncomfortability, everything from some of the videos I haven't posted because I haven't been around that much. I've been on the road a lot this summer. 2.5 months. I haven't gone back to, I haven't been at work for 2.5 months because I'm out filming and traveling. So, and meeting up with some really good people. But the drawback about the community is we're not here to look for the Bigfoot community. We're here to look for Sasquatch and Bigfoot. So it doesn't matter if you have 6 people viewing you. Stick with your facts. As time moves on and you're more solid with that, you'll get the viewers. I don't want 100,000 people watching me. I don't want 1 million people watching me. I want the right people watching me, and I want them to be fair and honest with their own approach. Now I want to show you something else. Now that we're on this side of the lake. Okay, I'm just going to flip this. So when I first came here, over here, right here, is where I was last year. And then over this way, the fish are jumping right there. But this is where that tree came crashing down. What's over here? Again, it's really steep, and it was wintertime, so I couldn't get up there to do it. But the key part is the one wood knock my first day I was here was over here. Now remember, this is the south side of the valley. My secondary wood knock was right over here. And then my third one is down the road more. So, and I don't know what that is. All I know, it was definitely a knocking sound. It's not a chopping of firewood. Only happened when I got out of my vehicle. It only happened one time each time I got out of my vehicle. I can say all I want that it's Sasquatch, but the bottom line is I have no idea. And I'm still smiling. And you should do the same. You have no idea. If we're patient enough, and there's enough of us doing a fair process of it, we'll eventually prove to everybody that they're real. And I think there'll be a consequence to that, unfortunately, to them. Once we prove to them, the rest of the society, that they're real. Some people say that they need a dead body. A dead body would certainly make it the easy way, wouldn't it? The right way is probably to film them. Am I fake to you? Do I look like I'm blurred? If I think I got a close-up shot enough like this, you're going to have a hard time debating that one. And I want to post this thing out to you guys too that chronically say you're getting bluff charged. If you're getting bluff charged, wear a body camera. I can't believe all you guys are claiming that you're getting bluff charged and not a single one of you got it on camera. I've got 3 cameras on me right now, not to mention backup, because it's more likely when I'm not expecting it, I'm not going to get it. When I was putting the audio recorders out last night, there was a part of me that says, nah, don't do it tonight, don't do it tonight. You have to do it every night, because if you don't, you'll regret not doing it that one night. And if I'm out here for 6 days, I have to make sure I use those days consistently and also with the pattern. So if somebody says, well, if I don't hear nothing for a week, 2 weeks, then I don't hear anything for 2 weeks. I haven't found a single track yet. So that tells me they might not be in the area yet. I haven't heard any vocals yet. So that means they might not be in the area. Again, are they seasonal? I have no idea. Do they come through here during a certain time? I'm not 100% sure. I know that the vocalizations seem to come in August, September, October, and November. I also know that people have told me 2 resorts, one on that end, one on this end. Bumped into somebody who's seen a squatch there. Talked to the owner over here. He's heard vocalizations. Introduces me to an older guy, that old-timer trapper, who's found tracks and seen a Sasquatch. Now I know this is all, there's no tangibility, it's just people telling you what they're finding and stuff, but it's a start. And that's all you can do. I find that what's been most helpful for me is getting people contacting me about their experiences. Because when they get in contact with you, you can get there fairly rapidly and investigate. This is a huge area. And some people have said, well, Leon, aren't you worried people are going to find what you're finding? No, I'm not interested. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it at all. And the reason why I'm not worried about it at all is I had to grunt my way through all this stuff. You know, I haven't posted anything, and I don't intend to post anything until I'm ready to post everything. And that's just the way it is. I don't want to be another YouTube channel that says Bigfoot stump. Look, right there, Bigfoot. Yep, Bigfoot came in there. Come on. I'm looking for facts. And the only way I'm going to get facts is being incredibly patient. And the bonus about me is I am incredibly patient when I have goals. That's one side of me. The other side of me is too excited. So I got to slow myself down from being too excited. But I have patience. I deal with people. Sometimes I'm dealing with things to figure out solutions for things. Now if you hear that truck, this is why this is Echo Lake. That truck's on the other side of the lake. It sounds like it's right beside me here. But it's a great spot if there's vocals and I can keep the equipment running as long as I can. If they're here and they make a sound, they'll be caught. Can't run from technology. They can hide from it, but they can't run from it. Talking about technology, and a couple of other thoughts. I don't buy Squatches, and I gotta be cautious how I say this. As far as I mentioned before that I am a human being, and I am an animal, and I'm a mammal, and I have what's called a higher conscience availability to me, which means I have conscience awareness. The thing about conscience awareness, and there's a few other animals on the planet that have it. Magpies have it. Dolphins have it. But you know, even like octopuses, they have a reasoning to them. They have the capacity to problem solve. And they don't even have a brain like a raven does or a crow. But raven and crow are pretty smart. And they can do up to, I think it's 5 or 6 solving problems to get food. And an octopus can remember its first decision in regards to when they're set up to get food. They don't try it a few different ways. They remember. So say squatches are like that they're a mammal and they're animal, but they're squatches and they have a conscious availability to them to reason. Now I want to know if they do or not. And if they do, what level of reasoning do they have? Some people like to call them people of the forest. I know David Pilati. I think it's David Pilates. Sorry, it's my brain acting up backwards again. From Missing 411. His encounter with First Nations and talking with them is they're a people. And a lot of the First Nations that I've talked to, they believe them as a people too. See that stump behind me? I thought it was a bear. Wouldn't that be kind of freaky? I just want to verify it's not a bear. Let me put my glasses on. No, it's a stump, thank goodness. Anyways, getting back to, if they're a people, what kind of people are they? Cultural? Do they have a culture? Do they have a language? Do they have community? Do they have transient locations that they call home? Are they family orientated? Are they like mountain gorillas? You know, as much as we all have our thoughts on what we think it actually is, what we're actually dealing with, we don't know. And that's probably one of the most frustrating things, is a lot of people claiming that they know. But I don't know. I can only work on what I learn. Trust the people who I trust, especially the ones who are forthright and fair. Man, that is going to be a heck of a steep climb tomorrow. And you have an obligation to people who watch your channel, you guys. You can't just jump from seeing a tree snap and saying it's Sasquatch, or even suggest it's a Sasquatch. You can't come up to a structure and say it's a Squatch structure. Sometimes when I come across prints, I won't tell any. I don't even show the picture, because it might be a 3-inch dip print, but I won't say it's a Squatch, because I don't know for sure. It's not clear enough. Whereas other prints, you bet. And I know people don't like, you know, our culture is really about getting there really fast, finding stuff really fast, looking at stuff. And we start reaching. Again, your brain starts reaching. But it doesn't make it factual. The Bigfoot community, from what I've experienced and coming out and doing research on the Bigfoot community, remember I mentioned to you before about part of my job is to not just study and research Sasquatch, it's about what happens to somebody who comes into the Bigfoot community as a system. Because the system is only 50 years old in Western culture. And you and I both have to ask multi-depth questions about everything, so we can get to the bottom of stuff that's good for us in regards to our research, stuff that's hokey. I love this area though. I love the curiosity of the people in the area, but I also owe it to them. I haven't had anyone roll their eyes. Oh my God, he's one of those people. I haven't had a single person do that. What I have had is people who are interested. And these people who are interested, and again, my viewers who watch me who are beginners, they're interested because they're interested. They're curious that it might be real. And I think it's important that you and I both, if you're on a YouTube, have your own YouTube channel, you're going to have to be brutally fair and honest with yourself. Ego. You have to put your ego on the shelf. You really do. You have to put your ego on the shelf. In clinical things, we talk about people I got to put their ego to death. Think of how egocentric that comment is. You got to put your ego to death. I got to put my ego to death. Oh, you're that egotistical? You can put your ego to death? Do you understand what you're saying when you say, I need to put my ego to death? You need to put your self-absorption, have grandeur, maybe, out of your life. But your egoid sense of yourself is very important for your sanity. How do I know what I know? How do I see what I see? What I think is what I think. What I feel is what I feel. Those are called 5 basic powers you're born with. You kind of see this in politics. Am I hearing what I'm hearing? Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Do I know what I know? Or do I just abandon that over to somebody else to tell me what I should be seeing and what I should be hearing, what I should be knowing? Because you get that in the Bigfoot community too. Had somebody ask me the other day about looking at some stuff again for them, and honestly, you guys, it's not fair to ask other people because it puts us on the spot a bit. We don't want to hurt your feelings in case we believe it's something else. Sorry, I just have to look at these forests are the best forests. Because I can actually negotiate and navigate through that. I can't negotiate and navigate this other stuff. Like it's I can walk through this. Or some of the forest up in the other area, not a chance I can walk through it. I can walk through it all right, but it's pretty brutal. So when I'm done this week and edit all this kind of stuff out, unless I get some specific stuff, there's a good chance I'll have to come back and research it again and wait, be patient. But the main reason why I film during the day is you can't see me at night. But they're not active during the day. At least, I don't think they're that active. They're probably stationarily active. Oi! But I think most of them are nocturnal. Calls seem to always be nocturnal. You hear the odd one online at least. Again, you don't know if it is, but the odd sighting online during the day seem to be either young, juvenile, or older ones, depending on your hypothesis. Coming to the bush does something, as I mentioned, about your primal part of your brain. It redisciplines you. Not to be freaked out. You've all had Squatch willies. Right? You know Squatch willies? Squatch willies is when you're in an area and your hair stands up in the back of your neck. You're not too sure what it is. You got to get a balance. If you don't get a balance, your body's going to go into fight, flight, or freeze. You actually might be in it in the process of trying to get a balance. It is possible to bring your body back to a balance, to a calm and relaxed state, as Caesar Milan would say. I'm just going to stop for a second, take a couple of pictures of these structures.